The scream tore through the quiet evening like a blade. A metal plate crashed onto the dusty compound floor, rice and stew splattering across the sand. Ama's body hit the ground next. Her fingers twitched once, twice, then went still. Ama! Ama, open your eyes! Villagers rushed from every direction, slippers slapping against the hard earth. Someone lifted her head. Someone else fanned her face with trembling hands. Foam gathered at the corner of her lips. Her breathing was wrong, too fast, too shallow. Right beside her, kneeling in the depths, was her best friend, Esi. Tears streamed down Esi's cheeks as she cradled Ama's head in her lap. But hidden behind the panic in her eyes was something else, something darker. Guilt and fear that someone, anyone, would discover the truth. Because only one person in that crowd knew why Ama was dying, and that person was holding her. 3 days earlier, the village of Asempa was quiet, neat, and modern in its own simple way. Rows of modest cement houses stood under bright zinc roofs that reflected the morning sun. Each house had glass windows, painted walls, and small verandas where plastic chairs waited for evening conversations. Electric poles lined the sandy road, wires stretching from house to house like thin black veins. Ama stepped out of her house, locking the wooden door behind her. She was in her mid-20s, tall and graceful, with warm brown skin that glowed in the sunlight. Her hair was styled in neat shoulder-length braids pulled back from her face. She wore a fitted, sleeveless Ankara dress in deep blue and gold patterns that hugged her waist and flowed gently to her knees. Simple leather sandals tapped softly as she walked. Across the narrow compound path, another door opened. Esi came out smiling. She was the same age as Ama, slightly shorter, with a soft, curvy figure and lively eyes. Her natural afro had been styled into a rounded puff that framed her face beautifully. She wore a bright red and black Ankara wrap skirt with a matching off-shoulder blouse, silver earrings catching the light as she moved. "Late again," Esi teased. Ama laughed. "You say that every day." And every day, it is true. They had grown up like sisters. Same school, same village, same dreams of one day leaving Asempa to build bigger lives. But for now, they were happy here. They fetched water together, walked to the market together, returned home together. People in the village often said if you saw one, the other could not be far. As they stepped onto the main sandy road, a motorbike slowed beside them. The rider removed his helmet. Kwame. He was in his late 20s, broad-shouldered, neatly trimmed beard, wearing a simple white shirt rolled at the sleeves. His smile was easy and warm. "Good morning, Ama," he said. "Just Ama, not you two, not ladies." Ama's cheeks warmed slightly. "Good morning, Kwame." Esi's smile froze for half a second before returning. "Morning." Kwame nodded politely at her, but his eyes drifted back to Ama. "I passed by your shop yesterday. You closed early. I wasn't feeling too well." "Take care of yourself, okay?" "I will." He kicked the bike into motion and rode off, leaving a trail of fine dust in the air. Ama tried to act normal, but Esi had seen everything. The softness in his voice, the way he looked at her, the way Ama looked back. They continued walking in silence for a few seconds. Then Esi forced a laugh. Somebody has a secret admirer." Ama nudged her playfully. "Stop it." But Esi's eyes no longer laughed. Inside her chest, something sharp had begun to grow. She had liked Kwame long before Ama ever noticed him, long before he started smiling like that, long before he ever looked at her the same way, not even once. And now it was clear he had chosen, just not her. Esi turned her face away so Ama wouldn't see the storm building behind her smile. That morning, the village looked the same. The houses were still neat, the air still fresh, the friendship still warm on the surface. But somewhere deep inside Esi, a quiet jealousy had taken its first breath, and it was only beginning. That afternoon, the village moved with its usual lazy rhythm. Women spread washed clothes on lines between houses. Children chased an old football across the sandy road. From somewhere nearby, the smell of fried plantain and pepper drifted through the warm air. Amma and Essie sat under the small veranda of Amma's house, sharing roasted groundnuts from a metal bowl between them. Amma talked. Essie listened, mostly. And he said he might travel to Kumasi next month for work, Amma was saying, absent-mindedly drawing circles in the sand with her toe. He asked if I had ever been there. Essie forced a smile. So what did you say? That I haven't, but I would like to go one day. And he will take you? Essie asked lightly. Amma shrugged, but her shy grin answered louder than words. Essie felt her fingers tighten around a groundnut until it cracked in her palm. You like him, Essie said. Amma hesitated, then laughed softly. I don't know yet. But you hope, Essie replied. Amma didn't deny it. For a moment, silence sat between them. A chicken ran past, flapping wildly as a child chased after it. Both girls laughed, the tension breaking on the surface. But inside Essie, the laughter echoed in an empty place. That night, long after the village had gone quiet and the electric bulbs inside the houses glowed dim yellow, Essie lay awake on her thin mattress. She stared at the ceiling. Every memory replayed in her mind. Kwame greeting Amma. Kwame smiling at Amma. Kwame asking about Amma. Not once had he looked at her that way. Not once. She turned on her side, facing the wall. It's not fair, she whispered into the darkness. Tears burned at the corners of her eyes, but they did not fall. Slowly, painfully, a dangerous thought crept in. If Amma was not there? The thought shocked her. She sat up immediately, breathing hard. No, she muttered to herself, what am I thinking? Amma was her sister in everything but blood. They had shared food from the same plate since childhood, shared secrets, shared dreams. But the image of Kwame's soft smile would not leave her mind. Sleep did not come easily that night, and when it finally did, it was filled with restless, bitter dreams. The next day, the village awoke to the distant sound of a grinding machine and the crowing of roosters. Amma was cheerful as always. Essie was quieter. They walked to the small village market together, their African prints bright against the earthy colors of the road. Women greeted them warmly as they passed. At one corner of the market stood an older woman known for selling herbal mixtures and traditional remedies. Small bottles and dried leaves were arranged neatly on a wooden table. Essie slowed her steps. Amma, go ahead, she said. I want to buy something quickly. Amma nodded. I'll wait by the tomatoes. Essie approached the table. The old woman looked up with sharp, knowing eyes. My daughter. Essie hesitated. Mama, do you have something for stomach sickness? Something strong? The woman studied her face for a few seconds. Strong medicine can heal, and strong medicine can harm. Essie swallowed. I just want something powerful. The woman turned, reached behind her, and brought out a tiny wrapped paper. Only a little, she warned. Too much is dangerous. Essie's hands trembled as she took it. Coins changed hands. The paper felt heavier than it should. As she walked back toward Amma, every step felt louder than the last. Amma waved at her from across the market, smiling brightly. Essie forced her own smile and waved back. In that moment, she could still turn back. She could throw the paper away. She could forget the dark thought. But instead, she slipped the small wrap into the hidden pocket of her bag, and something inside her quietly crossed a line it could never uncross. That evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the modern village houses in orange light, Essie knocked on Amma's door, holding a covered bowl. Amma opened, surprised. Essie? I cooked, Essie said gently. I thought we could eat together tonight, like old times. Amma's face lit up. You didn't have to. I wanted to. Amma stepped aside to let her in. Inside the neat living room, the tiled floor was cool beneath their feet. A small table fan hummed softly in the corner, pushing warm air around the room. Essie walked to the kitchen. Her heart pounded so loudly she was sure Amma could hear it. Amma chatted from the other room about her day, unawares. Essie's shaking fingers opened her bag. The tiny wrapped paper stared back at her. For a long moment, she couldn't move. Then slowly, she reached for it. Essie unfolded the tiny paper. Inside was a fine, pale powder. Her throat went dry. From the other room, Amma laughed softly at something on the radio, completely unaware of the battle happening just a few steps away. Essie's hand hovered over the steaming pot of stew she had brought. This is madness, a voice inside her whispered. But another voice, colder and sharper, answered back. If she is gone, everything changes. Her hand trembled. A single tear slid down her cheek and dropped onto the tiled kitchen floor. Then, with a shaking breath, she tipped a small pinch of the powder into the stew. It dissolved instantly. Gone. Invisible. Irreversible. She quickly stirred the pot, wiped her face, and forced a smile before carrying the food out. Amma clapped her hands excitedly. It smells amazing. They sat on the floor around a low tray, just like they had done many times growing up. Same metal plates, same shared laughter, same friendship. Only this time, one plate carried betrayal. Essie served Amma first, a generous portion. Amma took the first bite. She hummed happily. You've become a real chef. Essie tried to laugh, but no sound came out. She watched. Every chew felt like a hammer against her chest. Amma ate freely, enjoying every mouthful. Essie barely touched her own food. Minutes passed. Nothing happened. For a brief, wild second, hope rose inside Essie. Maybe it was too little. Maybe nothing would happen. Amma wiped her mouth. I'm full. That was perfect. Relief and disappointment crashed together inside Essie. Then Amma frowned slightly. You know, I feel a bit strange. Essie's heart stopped. Amma pressed a hand to her stomach. Maybe I ate too fast? She tried to stand. Her legs buckled. The plate slipped from her hands and clattered onto the floor. Amma, Essie whispered. Amma's breathing grew fast and uneven. Her eyes rolled back. Then she collapsed. Essie screamed and the world exploded into chaos. Villagers rushed in. Someone ran for the clinic motorbike. Someone shouted prayers. Through it all, Essie cried louder than anyone. And for the first time since adding the powder, she realized something terrible. She had not just hurt her friend, she might have killed her. Amma was rushed to the small village clinic. The modern concrete building stood at the edge of the village, its white paint chipped in places, but its electric light bright against the night. The nurse on duty worked quickly, inserting a drip and checking her pulse. She was poisoned, the nurse said firmly. The word sliced through the air. Poisoned. Essie felt the room spin. Villagers murmured in shock. Who would do this? Someone whispered. Amma lay unconscious, her face pale, breath shallow but steady under the oxygen mask. She was alive, but only just. Through the long night, Essie sat outside the clinic on a wooden bench, shaking. Guilt crawled over her skin like ants. Every time the clinic door opened, she jumped. She imagined chains on her wrists, villagers pointing at her, Amma's eyes opening and looking at her with horror. Morning came slowly. Kwame arrived at sunrise, face tight with worry. He had heard the news before dawn. He didn't greet anyone. He went straight to the window and stared at Amma's still form inside. His hands clenched into fists. Whoever did this, he said quietly, will answer for it. Essie could not meet his eyes. 2 days passed. Amma survived, weak but conscious. The nurse explained she had been given something mixed into her food, Something strong, but not enough to kill instantly. Amma tried to remember that night. Her head hurt when she thought too hard. But one memory stayed clear. Essie, bringing food, smiling, serving her plate. The thought disturbed her, not because she suspected her friend, but because Essie was the last person with her before everything went dark. That evening, back at her house, Amma sat on her bed staring at the empty bowl Essie had used. Something tugged at her mind. A small detail. Essie had barely eaten, not even half her portion. Amma's chest tightened. She remembered how Essie had watched her, not laughing, not talking, just watching. A cold realization crept into her bones. Slowly, painfully, Amma understood. The person who poisoned her was the person she trusted most. Tears filled her eyes, not from anger, but heartbreak. That night, she sent a message asking Essie to come over. Essie arrived nervous, carrying fruit as a gift. Amma looked at her for a long time before speaking. "Why?" Amma asked softly. Essie froze. "Why what?" "You were the last person to give me food before I fell dark." Silence. Amma's voice shook. "You didn't eat, Essie. You just watched me." Essie's lips trembled. Tears burst from her eyes. She dropped the fruit. "I didn't mean to kill you," she sobbed. The words hung in the air. Amma's heart shattered. "You poisoned me?" Her voice barely breathed the words. Essie fell to her knees. "I was jealous," she cried. "I thought if you went there, he would see me. I thought it would only make you sick, not like this." Amma staggered back, as if struck. All the years of friendship twisted into something unrecognizable. "You chose a man over me?" Amma whispered. Essie reached for her, but Amma stepped away. "I would have given him up," Amma said through tears. "For you, I would have stepped aside. You were my sister." Essie broke down completely. I know now. I destroyed everything." Footsteps approached outside. Kwame stood at the doorway, having heard enough. His face was filled not with rage, but deep disappointment. "You try to take a life because of love. That is not love," he said quietly. Villagers soon learned the truth. There were no celebrations, no shouting, only heavy silence. Essie was taken away to face the law. Amma recovered slowly, her body healing faster than her heart. Days later, she stood alone outside her modern cement house, watching the village move as it always had. Children laughed, women chattered, life continued. But something inside her had changed forever. She looked down at a plate of food in her hands. For a long moment, she simply stared at it. Then she lifted her eyes to the quiet road ahead. Not every smiling face is safe. Not every shared meal is love. And sometimes the greatest danger sits beside you, calling you friend. Be careful where you eat.